All right, so the first part I'm doing is the holster and the thing the holster attaches to on the leg. It's the things the belt attaches to each side of here, and then the holster attaches to that. So this is basically the thing that sits on the side of your leg that again has the snaps with the belt around it on each side, and then they cross over in the front and back. And then this piece is the holster, and this will connect on top like this, but it's right here. It's where the holster is. And then the rest of it pops out from there, and then it has the snaps, and then it goes around. So that's what I'm doing right now. This is going to be a 3D piece, so there will be two of these, and then a middle piece going all the way around, except for the top, because it has to be able to, you know, open. And then the top will have a strap that comes around, but I'll do that later on, like at the very end, because all I have to do is sew that to the top. Right now, you can see I have this piece laid out here. I have 4 of them. They're going to be back-to-back pieces. So I have 1, 1, 2, and 2. These are going to fold into each other, where they're going to go back to each other. I do still have to do the seam allowance, so I'm just going to go ahead and draw that in right now, because that doesn't need to be perfect, because it's going to get folded inwards anyway. So I'm just drawing a outline around the outside of it that's at least 1/4 of an inch. This looks like around 1/2 inch. And that's what I'm used to, is about 1/2 inch. And this will go all the way around like so. And then that is the line that I cut on. So I'm just going to cut this one out. So I'm using an X-Acto knife because I don't have my good scissors right now. If you have good scissors, use those. But the X-Acto knife works just as well, because again, this edge is going to be folded inward, so it doesn't really matter. And actually, I'm going to, since this is the piece I'm using, I'm going to cut out the entire piece. just make a big cut out there, make it easy so I can move it around. And then you can see now I can cut this a lot easier now that I can move it around. All right, so there we go. There's one piece, and all of these edges, this whole edge along that line will get folded inward. And I'm going to have to do that as I pin it down, because it's a curve, and you can't really do that. So I'm gonna have to do things like making a bunch of dart marks here. I'm not cutting these all the way to the edge, because I don't want them to be easily seen, so that when you fold it in, here, let me zoom in, see what happens here. So you can see it looks a little nicer. It's not perfect, and it's never going to be perfect, but it looks a lot nicer than if I just do this and I keep trying to fold it over on itself, and it just doesn't want to stay down. So I need to do that in order to get that to work. So I'm going to do that again on this side, and then on these corners, the opposite. They're going the opposite direction. So this one is convex. Yeah, I think, well, that one's going inward from the pattern. So the outside of the pattern is going inward. These ones are going from the outside of the pattern going outward. So this bows out and this curves in. So these ones I can easily just cut one single line from the corner to corner, like so. I don't know if you can see that. Well, you might have been able to. But yeah, so corner to corner on each of those. And then when they fold in, they just automatically make that corner. So that's how that works. And then I'm going to do that. I'm going to clip them down with these clips here. So let me zoom back out a little bit. So I'm going to clip them down like so. This isn't going to be perfect because I'm just showing you real quick. Because this is going to be really hard to do on camera and show you. So they're going to be clipped down like so, all the way around. And then I'll get the second one, do all of that same stuff to it. So this second one here, do all this same stuff to it, lay it on top, and then, so I'll have like 2 there. I'll put another one with 2 of them on it like that, take the one off, so now there's 2 pieces on there. It's very confusing. I'll show you when I get to that. All right, so it turns out I don't need 4 of these pieces. So what I was going to do was put them with 2 of these. So I put 1 here, like a little number 1 and a number 1 here, and then I put a Roman numeral 2 on the other ones. Turns out I was going to do this, you know, make them double thick. I don't need to do that. That's going to save a lot of vinyl, and I can use that for other stuff later on, which is fine. Yeah, so I'm going to save these for later. They'll be just in case I mess these up, but I'll show you what I was talking about real quick. I'll have to zoom in, and you can see here that's all bunched up in the corner. That's what I had to do to... I'm not going to take this clip off or it'll come undone, and I really don't want that. And then to hold it together with my finger, you wouldn't be able to see it either. So, yeah, that's on both sides. It turns out also putting these back to back, putting these like this and sewing them, this has so many layers, I don't think it's going to go through all of the layers doing that. So this might be like a maximum right here. I'm gonna have to be very careful on this corner. So yeah, I'm just gonna not do that and then save the other ones as backup. So that way if I mess these up, I have 2 extras. So actually it turns out the thing that I was going to do for the holsters, where I had a front and back piece and then a strip that went all the way around it, not working. It worked really good for my Persona Evoker gun for Persona 3 because that was small and I could do it all by hand. I cannot do that on the machine with all the thick vinyl. It just doesn't work. So I'm not showing you any of that, but instead I'm showing you something else. So I made the thing a lot wider. It's the same height because the height doesn't need to change. The width does because it needs to be able to be thicker when it's, you know what I mean. So now you can see there's this big gap here. So I'm going to be very careful here and just cut really close. These are bad scissors, and cut really close to that edge where I did there. And then I can do the same on the other side. Get really close to that where I stopped the machine up there. And then just make sure these are as even as possible on the top so that it looks nice, I guess. And now I can cut this down. I'm going to cut this somewhat close to the seam. This is about 1/4 of an inch, I would say. Maybe a little bit less than that, but roughly 1/4 of an inch. Now I can fold this top, if I can do this, in on itself. Like so. And then that will be the top edge. But how are we going to sew this down? It doesn't work that way. Well, most machines should do this. If I can get it off. There we go. So this is how. This is for doing things like sleeves or the cuffs of your pants or something. This is going to leave a black seam, like a black thread. I'm wondering if I'm going to like that. Because if I do that here, I have to do it everywhere or it won't look uniform. But I don't want to remove the thread and rethread this thing. So I don't have a brown bobbin, and I'll have to remake a whole bobbin and everything. It's not hard, but I don't really want to do that. So I'm just lazy or something. So this is actually a little harder than it looks to do. It's really annoying with vinyl because vinyl's a lot thicker than fabric. So it doesn't like to push out all the way. As you can see, the points don't like to come out very much at the tips there. That's just very common with vinyl. It doesn't like to do that. But that's why I rounded it off so that it was easier and it looked a little nicer. But I can use these scissors to push that tip out a little bit. And that's about as good as that's going to get. So now we're on to basically the final part of these that I'm doing for the day. There'll be more obviously, but this is just for this one day that I'm working on them right now. This will be over multiple days. So what we're going to do is add these snaps. So this is a leather punch. So you put it down and you hammer it down, but I want to find out where they're going to go first. So snaps come in 4 parts. There is a top, which is the visible part that you see, like if you have a jacket that snaps up, it's the little visible part that's on the outside. And then that part has what I call the bowl, and that goes into the thing. And this is 1/2, so that'll be on the little flap on the outside of the jacket. And then the inside, the part that snaps to, is made up of this little peg and what I call the inverted bowl. And so the inverted bowl is what snaps into the bowl. So it has like the little curve on it or whatever, the lip that gets pressed into the inside of the bowl piece so that it snaps together, and then you can pull it back apart because it's not that tight of a hold. So this piece is under the strap on the thing. So it goes this, and then the strap goes on top of it. So you would see the top piece on the very top, but that would be connected to the strap itself. So not worried about that. But I do want to make sure of where this one's going to go. So I'm going to use the backside one and just press down where I think it should, where I like it best. It looks good right there. That made a little mark there. I can set this up against that mark and then hammer away. And I know that this has gone all the way through because it's stuck in the wood. The problem is this thing gets wood stuck in it and I can't get it back out. So now there's a hole in it, and this will go inside the hole like that. The inverted bowl piece will sit on top of that. They come with this little tool here. This side is for, you can see it's concave. This side is for the front so that it stays like rounded off and cool looking. This side is more flattened and it has a way to just rest right in there without moving around. And then it has this little hammer piece. I don't know why nothing's focusing. Come on. Well, either way, there we go. This piece you can see here, it has a little nub. That piece goes down and you can feel it lock into place. Just do that. And then I like to do this on the edge of this stool here because I can hold it with my hand a little further down away from the hammer. And it crushes the stem. So you see this piece has a little stem there. It does the same thing to that piece, but it crushes it crushes the stem to keep it in place, so now it's not going to come off. And then on the other side, on the strap, these pieces will go together, and then they will snap down on top of that with the other piece. So the other piece is just a strap. I've made a million of those. I'll show you real fast how I made those. But I'm gonna do the other side of this one, and then this will basically go down like that. Oh, you can't see that. Here, let me actually, having a down view might be better actually. That's essentially how the thing is gonna go. And then the straps will connect to these sides and go around my body. So, and I'll do that twice. So yeah, just know to do the other one over here, and you're done with that. And then you can move on to making the straps. And when I make the straps, that's exactly how you make the strap that holds on the gun into here. You just do the same thing, but you can sew Velcro on it. You can put a button on it. You can do whatever you want. It doesn't really matter. That's up to you. So for the strap, I just cut out a big strip here. This is longer than I need it for going around all the way from one side to the other. So to go one side, it'll go all the way around my body, all the way to this side. So that is what this strap is for. And I'm going to make two of these. All I did was I took a T-square that I have and I traced it out. You can see the other line here. And then I just shifted it over a little bit and made another line. So that's about a 1/2 inch. I can roughly see that. And then I can make them the same size by just folding in the edges. And then I can just do this all the way down. And then I'm going to do the other side so that I have like this. And that'll be a strap. And since these aren't going to have too much weight in them, the 3D prints are going to be filament prints for the guns. So they're not going to be heavy at all. They're going to weigh almost nothing. I won't have to worry about them holding too much weight, and they're going to be in my hands most of the time. So these are going to be empty anyway. So I don't need them to hold too much weight up. So it's fine. But anyway, I'm going to keep doing this, go all the way down the line here. And then when I come back, I'm going to do the rest off camera because you can see what I'm doing here. But I'm going to show you how to make sure that it's the size you want. When I do it and I flip it over, it'll be on this side because I can go this way and it'll be easier. But for now, I'll do it on this side. I'll hold this up to one of the lines on here. Each of these lines are an inch, so I know where that is. And if I want this to be roughly 1.5 inches, which I do, then I hold it up to one of the lines, and then there's little dots. It's impossible, almost, I don't know, can you see that? I don't know. But there's little dots. There's not a grid of 9 in between each of these. And that's the quarter mark, half mark, and 3/4 mark. So I can hold that up to the half mark, and that way I know that this is 1.5 inches. So that's how I know what size it is. And then I'll just pin that all the way down again, and then that'll be my strap. So, and if you want to, you can do this twice, lay them on top of each other, and then have a thicker strap. You can have a double thick strap. You can do that if you want. I'm not going to do that because these don't need it. I'm going to try to see if I can get this to be rounded on the edge, because it's rounded in the anime and the light novel and all the stuff. So I'm going to see if I can do that, but that's really difficult to do. It looks really bad. You saw the edges of the other piece. I have to do that, but like this. That's going to be really hard to do. So I'm going to see what I can do there. But either way, I'll be back with all this sewn together, and then I can show you how all the snap stuff works and all that. All right, so now I have, they're not very well done, but I have one of these done. Both ends kind of ended up coming out kind of bad, but I did make them triangles, which is closer to the roundness that his have. I could not get the roundness out of it, so this is as good as it's going to get. But it'll look fine. And I'm going to center this as best I can. This is the top side to the snaps. Gonna press down so that it leaves an indentation. And then I can use the thingy again to make the hole. This side will go in like this, so it'll look like that. And then the bowl piece I was talking about goes in that side right there. And then, like I said, this has that concave side, which is where this goes. And now you don't want to hit too hard, because I learned the hard way. I have 3 of these setters now. This is called a setter. But I have 3 of these things now. And the little bowl piece that this sits into, one of them, when, like, this was like 10 years ago, I hit it way too hard and it cracked the inside of it. So everything I did with it, my Sora costume was with that one, because that's all I had at the time. My Kingdom Hearts 3 one. And so all of them have like a kind of a point on them where the broken piece was, it molded around the broken. It sucked. But so I learned not to hit them that hard. So, and as you can see, yeah, there we go. It just got scuffed a little, but yeah. And now that's in there, and this will go like that. And then this will go around, and the other one will snap over here. And then that goes around the body. And then because it snaps, I can get it around the belt loops and snap it into place on me. Okay, wow, I almost forgot the leg straps. Yeah, oops. Good thing I remembered. And good thing I have enough vinyl. I have more than enough. I'm glad. So I got 1.5 yards, I believe, and that was enough. So, anyway, yeah, I had to make more straps. So I just made 2 more the exact same way. They're these ones that I did with the little button on them, the snap. They're the exact same method, the exact same size and everything. And then I have these weave buckles here that are just, there we go. They are like this. And I'm just sewing one of those onto a little piece that I cut off of the strap. It turns out one of the straps goes around my leg just enough with overlap that the bottom strap, he has 2 on his thighs that go all the way around. And the bottom one had a whole lot left over. And the top one has enough left over that it's longer than I need. So that means I can cut some off. And what I'm doing is, you can see on the back here, I have this just going all the way around. There is no need for all of this. I can cut some of that off. So I can cut that off, like with this one being the buckle, I can cut it off like here and still sew that on and sew the buckle on. It's not, no, all this is pinned. And I can sew it here. And then from here, I can shift this all the way over here, meaning I have way more than enough length. And this is how far it tightens on my leg. That's way too much. I don't need it to tighten that much. That means I have way more than I need. So I'm gonna cut this piece off, obviously, and then I can put the other piece through. I'll show you when I get to it. Oh, don't do that. I almost did this upside down. These ones are curved to fit with your curved leg. They're made to curve. Almost did that backwards. Don't do that. Luckily, hand stitching this, it would have been super easy to fix, but it would have been annoying to have to do it again. Anyway, so once it's done, I can take the end where these ones I made a square end. I can put these through however far I want it, sew that down, and then it won't come out because I don't want this to slip out. And his buckles don't have a tongue, so it can slip out, and I don't want that to happen while I'm wearing them. So I'm going to sew them down, and you'll see that in a minute. But then I can figure out where on the end fits on the holster, and that'll give me the right length. I have to hand stitch this because it's too close to the buckle for me to be able to do it on my machine. If I do it like way down here, maybe, but I'm not doing that. I want it to be really close to the buckle. So I'm just hand stitching this, and this vinyl is so easy to sew through that it gives me no problems. Like it feels like I'm going through like woven fabric. That's how easy it is to get through this. It's just finding the right spots to go through. So what I do is I go around the edges. So I'll go around this edge a few times. So I started inside the fold here and went in, and then I went around the entire thing all the way through, and then I'm going around a couple of times. That way this edge is just like, it has a bunch of thread on it, so it can't just pop open. Like the thread isn't gonna break due to any tension. So that's why I do that. So I'm gonna do that real quick. And now once I've gone over that 4 or 5 or 6 times, I'm going to go all the way across. The problem is it looks really messy, but you can't see that under the piece anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So here's the finished piece. You can see it's not very pretty on either side, but it doesn't have to be. That's the beauty of this. It doesn't have to look good because it holds, it's in place, so that works. And when I put the strap through it, you don't even see it. So it doesn't matter. So what I'm going to do is this side, we'll get this sewn down like this, and then that'll probably be around right there. That looks about good to me. And then this will be sewn down like this to this piece, and then it'll be sewn down here like that. And then you see how I have this here where I have the full belt going across. I don't need to do that. I don't need it like that. I can do it like this and sew this down like that. See how much bigger that is? So it was the same size, or roughly the same size, because I cut this a little different. And then now I can move this over here and make this way bigger. This isn't how big I need it, so all I need to do is figure out where I need to cut it at. So I'll wrap it around my leg, put this side however I need it. I'll be like, if I need that much cut off, then I can cut it right there and sew it down. But and that'll be however big. But if I tighten it, I can go maybe even tighter and then cut off some of it. So that's how that's gonna go. And then all this is gonna get removed. So that's how that's working. It's really hard to show you that on camera, but that's how that works. I know this is where this one needs to go, and I know that the other one needs to go directly below it. So I'm leaving this one on there until I finish this one completely and sew the pieces on. Because then once this one's sewn on, I'll know where this one is, meaning I'll know where this one goes, and I can work on that one and do the same thing with it next. So basically, I don't know if you need to see me sewing this down, but I'm just gonna put my hand in there and sew it down. I was actually debating snapping it down, so I might do that. So I'll show you basically what that would be putting a snap through here, putting a snap on the other side, and then just having this snap down like that, so I don't have to sew it, because it's going to be annoying to sew. And that'll give it some rotation so it can move on my leg if it needs to move up and down a little bit. That might be a good idea, so I'm going to do that. So I can't do that right now because there are people sleeping. But I can always come back and do that. I can do that off camera. You don't need to see that because you saw it on this already. It's the exact same thing. I'm just doing it through these pieces. Super easy. So just know that I'm going to be putting Ooh, which side do I want in there? Maybe this, yeah. I'm gonna put this side, the back side, the one that goes with the inverted bowl. So I'm gonna put the two pieces that make up what I did here. So this piece here, I'm going to put that inside the thing because that's where the guns are gonna go, right? So I'm gonna put that in there, and I'm going to use on the little thingy you guys saw before. It has two different sides. One side is for crushing down with this so that it doesn't deform, and the other side is for this so it stays domed. I'm going to use this side on this. It'll dome this out, which means that the edges won't be sharp like this because they're kind of sharp. The edges won't be like that on the inside. It'll be rounded off so that the gun can just slide right past it without getting caught on this. So that's what I'm going to do. You don't need to see me do that on camera. You already saw how these are used. All right, and this is that all finished. It's probably hard to tell. You can kind of see the snaps when you put it on. So if you want to sew this, go ahead. You'll get a better look on the side because you can see it here too. You'll get a better look than that on it, but it's whatever. I'm not going to worry about it. I also accidentally cut through here. I don't know how well you can see that. There you go. Just a little hole there. I have no idea how that happened. I have this double-sided strap that's from another project. I think this was from my Dante boots as well. And I folded it over this way, so it was quadruple thick, so it was 4 layers thick. Put it inside, and then I was using the thing to hammer the hole in there, and somehow it slipped and went out here. So now there's a hole. But luckily, that's on the back. No one's going to even see it. So that sucks, but there was nothing I can do about that, so I'm not going to redo this. It's not going to happen. So I could, but I'm not going to. I have a ton of material left, but it's whatever. Now all I have to do is on here, I'm not going to do it on camera because it's the same exact thing I just did. It's the same thing I did here along the stitch, but I'm going to do it along this stitch up here. Here. You can see the black stitch mark here and down here. I might even do it over here just to make it easier because I can get there. I'll do it like right here. Yeah, right there. So it's not in here anymore. I'll do it right there. I'm going to tack it down going through the stitch and just go back and forth through the stitch a whole bunch and then tie it off in the back because that way it'll just stay in place. I don't have to worry about it pulling out. So it's already the length that I want it. So I want it to, that's why it's pinned right now because it's where I want. And then I can just, on the top and bottom here, I can do a bunch of loops to tack it down so that it stays in place so that once I take this out, it won't pull out. So I won't have that problem. And they're not going to have as much force pulled on them as it is, so it's not a big deal. The force will mostly be pulling on the snaps, so those will come undone before these break. So that's good. So I'm going to do that off camera and everything. And then I'm just going to do that all a second time, and then by the time I'm done with everything, I should have the guns, which by the time of me recording this, the night before, I had paid for them. So they should take about a week and a half, maybe a week. So I'll be back around then, because what I need to do now is I don't know where they are. They're down on the floor somewhere, but the pieces that are going to go like this, where they're going to go back here, and then over here to hold the gun in place, whatever that's called, the strap that holds the gun in place, I'm going to be doing those, but I can't do that until I have the guns because I have to know exactly how big that has to be, and I can't sew these two pieces together because I have to know where this is going to go because it's going to be in the way. The sewing is going to be in the way of putting that on there. So, and I might even be able to just put this down like that and then just sew this down with this on there and then do that. But the piece I'm going to use. And then that way I can sew all three of them at the same time and I won't have to worry about it. So I'm going to do that. And then after that, I can figure out where all the Velcro needs to go and all that stuff and call that good. But I'll do that in a couple seconds for you guys, but a couple weeks for me. All right, so some bad news. The guns came, but they are tiny. So yeah, you can probably see it better like this. They're really tiny compared to what they're supposed to be. So I'm not using these. They're going to reprint them for me. So that means that I can't finish these with the size of the guns. So that means I can't figure out where the closure strap is going to go, the thing that holds the gun in the holster. I don't know where that's going to go because of that. But on top of that, I also realized that when the guns aren't in these and they're empty with nothing in them at all, they lay flat really bad and they look really ugly. So I think they look a lot better when they look full like this. They look more like stiff leather than they do, you know, crappy pleather. So they look a lot nicer with some spacers. So I cut 3 spacers out of 10mm foam and just stuck them in there. So the pattern I specifically used to fit me, 3 of them looks fine, and they fit in, you saw, just well. And I'm going to just glue them together. I'm going to glue the edges together like as best as possible, so I don't have to do any sanding or anything on the top here, and then just paint it black with like Plastidip, and then just put it in. Because black will be fine enough. I don't need to paint them. I just need to use the Plastidip and call it good. So I'm not going to worry about anything past that. And that'll look fine. That looks nice and sturdy. So, and it fits well and it looks fine on my legs. Also, the other thing I did was I had to do this. So, I had to sew these down just like I should have in the first place. So do that, I guess. Don't even bother with the snaps. The way that they're on and how tight they have to be to stay on. Yeah, they just pull the snaps right open. So, I literally couldn't even test it out to see how it would, like where it would fit on my leg or how to make sure everything fits right, because it would just keep popping itself back open. Because that's how bad snaps are with this, I guess. They just pop right back off. So I took them off of these straps. So there's actually holes here in the straps where the thing was. And basically all I did was I took some needle nose pliers and I went like this and uncrimped all of the stuff inside. It's hard to see, but they're the inside of these. You can see where it's all broken down. That's where I hammered down to keep it together. On these, on the straps, they weren't as bad because of the way they were made. So I was able to just undo that, like put it back towards the center, and then use a screwdriver, a flathead screwdriver, to get under it and pry it all apart. Can't do that on here because not only are these too close together that I can't get them apart because of how I made them. Remember, the back is domed, so that means the edge is a lot closer and they're like pinched together, so I can't get this under there. And the piece here, because that piece is not as small as the peg is bigger than the back, you know what I mean. The peg is longer on that side, so there's more material in here, and I cannot get the pliers in there to I can't move anything, so there's nothing I can do. So I just said screw it. I was gonna remake these, the holster itself in general. Decided it's not a big deal if I can get around this sewing here. Then no one's gonna see these anyway. It's not a big deal. I might fix that later. I might not. It's not a big deal to me. I'll figure it out later. But yeah, so just don't do those and you'll be fine. And now I'm going to be putting these onto the pants. I couldn't really do anything about that on camera because I had to keep taking the pants on and off and figuring out where these sit and, you know, all that kind of stuff, adjustments and everything. So I just did all that off camera. You'll have to do that on your own to figure out where it fits best on you, on your leg, and on your pants that you're using, because all of those factors will be different. And then I pinned them down to where they need to go. But before I did that, you're not gonna be able to see this very well because I need to keep this where it is. Here, let me zoom in. There is a snap there. So I took a piece of bias tape that was just small enough to still allow the hole for the snaps. And I put the hole in there, and then I put the snap on there. So what I did was I used the back side of the snaps, this side, and that is under here. And then this side is the side that snaps into this. So it's the second half of the top side. So I just don't have any tops on this, the decorative colored tops. So I'm just not going to do that at all because what's the point? You can't see it. And then on the pants, I'm going to be just doing this, where I have another back piece that'll be on the inside, and this piece will be on the outside of the pants that this snaps into, and that will keep them on my leg, like, because these keep sliding all over the place because they're not secured anywhere. So, and because legs are tapered as you go down, the top of the thigh is bigger than the bottom of the thigh, so that creates a downward gravity force for things that are on your leg. So, and that's exactly why like thigh-high stockings fall down easily, because that's just how legs are. So I have to just do that. And what I'm going to do here is the easy way to do this. I'm not going to flip anything inside out. Not going to do anything like that. I'm going to just do this. So it wasn't very hard. I'm just rolling the pant leg, and since it's pinned, you can see exactly where it's going to go right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a white pencil because I don't have any more silver Sharpies. I ran out, which I should have gotten before I continued, but whatever. This marker is meant for black fabric so that when you're cutting out your patterns, you can mark them with white pencil rather than a Sharpie. And this will wash off and a Sharpie won't. So when you're done making your piece and you wash it, the marks will come off. But I know where those go, and I'm going to do that on the other side as well because I have the other side here, and I need to pin that down. I have a piece not pinned, so I have to pin that, and then do the same thing, and then I'll come back where I'm putting the hole in it, which I'm just doing the same thing I've done before. Just putting a hole in it and then putting the thing together, putting the snap together. That's it. And there we go. So that's all good to go now. And so that is this leg. So I can put this through like so, and then just snap, snap, and there, they're in the right spot. I mean, it's not 100% perfect, but it'll work. It's never going to be perfect, and it's really, really difficult to get everything to work on these in general, I guess, because they're so cumbersome and weird to use and to mess with that it's extremely difficult to just get things to work. So I don't even need to try these on because obviously they were pinned down right where I put those. So I know they're going to fit exactly the same. The problem now is that they don't, they do that. So what I have to do now is I know exactly how these fit on here from where they were before. So I know exactly where on, like right here, I know they fit right there because I remembered exactly the spot basically. I should have marked it, but it's whatever. So I'm going to mark this spot right here with white because again, that'll wash off. And then I can, just to be 100% sure, I can measure this from the waistband all the way down this pocket line because it's right on the pocket line. I'm not using these pockets, by the way. I can measure right down to that mark, see the exact length, and mark that on the other side. And then I can figure out how to get these to stay down. So what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to put another one in here, in this piece that goes under it, and then have this snap down or something. So that way it just stays in place. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on the bottom here, I'm going to put another snap thing, but the other side, the front side, and then I'll put another one on the pants that it connects to so that it can't pull away from the pants. So that's a good idea. So I'm going to do that again, where I'm going to put a hole in here, and I'm going to do it near the top because I want it to be anchored at the top on the pants, so that'll work. Yeah, let me do that, and then you'll know what I'm doing. It's the same exact thing. I'm just doing this, hammering it to put a hole through both pieces, putting the snap in here, and then just like I did with everything else, and then I'm putting it on the pants because I got to keep putting them back on and off, make sure it's in the right spot and everything. And then at that point, I can put it in the pants just like I did with the ones I just finished up, and then that'll hold it in place. So just know that. Okay, we're at the end here. These are completely done except for I didn't paint the inserts yet, but they are glued together. That's all I have to do. That's easy. I'm just going to plasti dip them like I said and call it good. But I'm going to just explain a couple things at the end here really quick. You may be able to notice the straps that go around my body are larger. I did make them bigger, so they are now 2 inches exactly. They're 2 inches thick. I just liked that a little better. The thinner ones that were this size did not look that good. So it's whatever. They're the exact same thing. Made them the exact same way. So I did end up sewing this whole thing down here. It's sewn down through all 3 right here, through this layer, and the holster itself. So they're all sewn together. And then I just tacked this down on both corners, so it's actually not sewn down in the middle here. And yeah, so that way it looks the most natural, I guess. Honestly, that's really it. I'm not going to show you them on me right now. I'm going to try to get some video of the entire costume with them on, but it's going to be a little difficult because I have to do it myself. I don't have anyone to help me do that, so that's going to be hard. But I'm going to see what I can do so that you can at least see what they look like when they're on. But that's really all I did to finish them. So again, like I said at the end, I put the little thing here. In this one, I just did one of the decorative tops because it doesn't really matter. Turns out I'm not putting the guns in it. Doesn't make a difference. And then the same place on the pants, I put the other side so they can snap down. That way they stay on me. And then that's it. So, and actually here, you'll be able to see this a little better now that they're not pinned down. This is what this piece looks like, where it connects to the inner thigh of the pant leg. The part that was covered by the pants when it was pinned up, that's what it looks like. So, and then it just has a regular backing piece on it. But yeah, so I did that, and I just sewed it along the seam here, just like I did with these, where I sewed it on the seam so you can't see the stitch. Same idea. What I'm going to do when I put them on is I put the back side on, so that'd be this side. That's the back right there. And then I put them around me because I can easily pull this all the way through the belt loop, and then I can snap it in the front because I can reach that. I can't reach the back one. And then snap that down when it's on me. So that's how that goes. The other one here, done. Everything's finished. All right, so this is basically the full costume on me. So I do have the holsters here with the inserts in them. I don't know how well, I can't really see the screen too well, but hopefully you can see that. But you can see that it's got the brown straps and the holsters. Obviously, I don't have the arm on all the way. I have the 2 pieces here. There's another video for those. It's already been up for a couple weeks at this point. But yeah, this is the last video I'm making on this costume. So that's the full costume. I don't have the wig on. The wig's actually right here next to the camera with the eye patch on it, which right there. So yeah, there's that. I don't think there's going to be anything else for this costume now. This should be it. I still have to paint the inserts that are in here, but I'll do that later. I might even just duct tape them to make them black because that'll just be easier. I don't really care. That way I'm not wasting any plastic dip. See what happens. Anyway, that's going to be it for the rest of this video. So if you like it, go ahead and hit that thumbs up, subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys later.